Hello, race fans, and welcome to the 2006 MSDGC. This weekend, we've got 126 players competing for the Pro Open Championship and the coveted Maple Pyramid. The first two rounds are being played on the Maple Hill Elements course and the Pyramid's Gold course. We start the first day's recap with Barry Schultz, who started out red hot, birdieing 8 of his first 9 holes.
Yeah.
Great drives and great putts quickly separated Barry Schultz from the rest of the field as he went on to shoot a 42, a new course record by 4 strokes, on the Maple Hill Elements course. Chris Sprague from Oregon had the shots to put himself in position to challenge Barry Schultz. Chris started the season off getting second place in the Memorial. He also won the Greater Des Moines Challenge, but beyond that, he's recently been in quite a funk, getting 39th at Worlds and getting 14th out of 19 at the Glass Blown Open in Emporia, Kansas just last week. But the past is just that, as Chris set himself up for birdie after birdie to make a run. Justin Bunnell from St. Louis, Missouri, proved he's got game. This season he has won 4 Super Tour events and his accurate drives and quality putts put him just 2 strokes behind Barry Schultz after the first round.
Nice.
Chris Heron from Wisconsin stayed in striking distance, finishing just 5 strokes behind Barry Schultz after the first round. At one stretch this season, from mid-June to late July, Chris won 5 of the 7 tournaments he entered. He's got all the skills needed to make a run at this year's MSDGC Championship. And we all know Walter Haney from North Carolina. Walter Haney's consistent drives and consistent putts placed him in 3rd place at the inaugural MSDGC, 2nd place last year, losing in a 1-hole playoff to Kevin McCoy. And this year, who knows? Walter has placed in the top 10 in every event he has entered this year, including multiple victories and 9th place at Pro Worlds. And Walter Haney's play throughout the first day would earn him 5th place at -7 going into round 3. And then there's Jay Yeti Redding from Davenport, Iowa. Jay's been a consistent supporter of the MSDGC, and it's always fun watching that blue truck drive down the drive with a big smile behind the steering wheel. Jay, with partner Des, won the 2006 World Doubles Championship earlier this year, and it is pure joy watching him play the game. Yeah! And one of the most fun parts of watching Jay's game is watching his putts. He can hit them from all over. Jay's great play puts him in 5th place after the first day, also at -7, tied with Walter Haney. Mike Hoffman from Raleigh, North Carolina was a welcome addition to this year's 06 MSDGC cast.
Nice kiss.
A nice kiss, a big arm, and an ability to throw straight as a string through the woods got Mike to 6 under par after the first day, placing him in 7th going into round 3. Larry Leonard from Raleigh, North Carolina returns to the MSDGC this year. Last year, he made a run at the Maple Pyramid.
The basket.
Get in it.
Hit the tree. Hit the tree. Hit the other tree.
Larry's great drives and amazing putts continue to thrill us, as does his amazing consistency. This year, over the first 2 rounds, he finished at -6, tied him for 7th place with Mike Hoffman. If I had to pick any one player on the tour to watch, I think that player would be Steve Brinster from New Jersey. Steve Brinster is one of the most exciting and scrappy players on the tour, and the fact that he can throw over 500 feet makes him pretty fun to watch too. His big putts, big drives, big time play, MSDGC champion of the future.
Come on, baby. Get over at least. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Who knows? All I know is he's in 7th place at 6 under par after the first day.
Bucket, bucket, bucket.
Oh, Skippy do that.
And if he could hit a putt,
Come on!
I am just the worst swing putter ever.
it seems like every tournament, someone comes out of the sky and shows us some mad skills. In the first 2 rounds, Naved Hasnain has done just that. He hails from Virginia, and according to his PDGA rating, he should be losing by a dozen strokes to these fellas. Good drives, good putts, putting it all together, landing at 5 under par to earn 10th place after 2 rounds. Kevin McCoy of Oklahoma, our 2005 MSDGC champion, continues to impress, hitting big putts, snaking his sneaky drives through the wooded fairways. We just wish his ability to putt was as infectious as his smile. Kevin rounds out the top 10 after 2 rounds with a 5 under par. Justin Jernigan joins us for the first time this year. He is from North Carolina. He is the reigning Dogwood Crosstown champion. And after witnessing his confident putting style, we can see why. For the past couple years, he's been one of the top players on the disc golf tour. Big accurate drives and those confident putts put him at 4 under par, 12th place going into round 3. John Gregory, known as JG, is an old school disc player from Maryland. He may not have the distance of some of the young guns on tour, but his deadly accurate putting more than makes up for it. With the shortest course of the tournament still to be played, JG could make some noise.
One time.
Oh! He's currently tied for 12th at 4 under par after 2 rounds.
Come on. Give me some love.
Michael Johansson from North Carolina has got the complete game. Finishing in the top 10 at the last 2 U.S. Disc Golf Championships demonstrates his ability to place drives in tight spots. And don't forget his approach and putting game. They rival the best we've seen. JoJo, as I sometimes call him, at 4 under par and in 12th place, is a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Nice. Whew. Right over it.
Timothy Walsh, the top New England player after the first 2 rounds, hails from Massachusetts.
Yeah.
For the deuce.
Tim is our dark horse pick for the 2006 MSDGC. We're betting he breaks into the top 10. At 4 under par, he sits in 12th place after 2 rounds. We know him best for his big putts, controlled drives, and his ability to take advantage of lucky breaks.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Board Solang, one of the infamous Frizzaks from Norwalk, Connecticut. We've watched Board mature into a big-time presence on the disc golf course up here in New England. He's always had a big arm and has now developed solid putting and a great short game to create the real deal. Board's first round 53 was one off the Pyramid's gold course record.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. His reaction.
Joe Mela from Pennsylvania. He was convinced to check out the MSDGC by Big Dog Sweeten, and we're all better off for it. Joe's short game is second to none, and on the 2 shorter courses, I would look for Joe to make some serious noise and threaten for a spot in the top 10 at this year's MSDGC. Matt Peckham, a southpaw from North Carolina, continues to step up his game at the MSDGC. A 980 rated player with a 1040 rated haircut, Matt is just 3 strokes shy of 10th place.
Get it. Yes.
Brian Schwaberger, who cares how he plays? We love him and should name one of our dogs after him. Big arm, big putts, big hammer, and a smile that outdoes all of it. One of the top players in the world, I would look for Schwaby to move up in the next 2 rounds. Will Krewald is from Connecticut, a self-proclaimed man unit. This young gun won the AM side of the MSDGC last year, and this year has landed in the top 20 after 2 rounds. He's got the tools. Can he keep the consistency going?
Yeah.
Oh! Big time club.
Shur Solang, a battle-scarred veteran of the disc golf circuit, has spent significant time playing disc in Hawaii, the South, and New England. We're glad to have him and his mighty hammer back in New England. If he gets hot, he can beat anybody. Jeff Cahill from Connecticut opened this year's MSDGC shooting a 54 on the Pyramids Gold Course, just 2 strokes off the course record.
That's awesome, dude.
He struggled in round 2 and dropped out of the top 20.
Yeah!
Craig Gangloff from Maryland has been a 1,000-rated player for as long as the PDGA can remember. I expect that over the next 2 rounds, his accurate drives and tremendous short game will put him back in the top 20. Scott Howard of New Jersey. He can hit the big putt and the big drive. Some heartbreakers knocked him out of the top 20, but he is a player.
Nice.
Last year, Mitch Sonderfan was leading the tournament with 6 holes to play. He ended up 1 shot behind the winner. This year, not so good. Chin up, Mitch. We love you, baby. Eddie Ogburn of North Carolina thrilled us last year. His game keeps improving. He's gained 60 rating points in the last 2 years. We're looking for great things from him in the future. Bob B.O.B. Graham, Spirit Award winner. A big heart combined with big putts will make B.O.B. a consistent favorite. And that leaves the top 4 positions yet to be decided. Barry Schultz started round 2 the same way he started round 1. Birdie on hole 1. Birdie on hole 2. Birdie on hole 3. Barry Schultz is on fire to start the second round. Meanwhile, Chris Sprague was making some big putts. And Justin Bonnell and Chris Heron, while playing well, just could not hang with Schultz and ended tied for 3rd at 8 under par. Barry Schultz continued his hot play, carding birdies on hole 5 and hole 6. Chris Sprague fought and scrapped his way through the round, just trying to stay close, taking advantage of every break he could get, and hitting putts from downtown.
Nice.
Barry Schultz was relentless through the first 12 holes. With 6 birdies and no bogeys, he was on pace to shoot a 48 and shatter another course record by 4 strokes. Chris Sprague played another great round, but it was clearly not going to be enough. He ended the second round in 2nd place at 9 under par. And then, with 6 holes to play in the second round, and the nearest competitor 8 strokes back for the first time in 2 rounds, there was a blemish on Barry Schultz's scorecard. After shanking his tee shot, Barry's second shot on the daunting airport hole proved no better. Barry's 4th shot would put him in position to save a double bogey, but it was not to be. On the following hole, Barry's par putt off the top. On hole 15, Barry's par putt off the basket. He'd lost 5 strokes in 3 holes, and even pulling it back together on the final holes to end at 14 under par with a 5-stroke lead could not erase the fact that Barry Schultz had failed to put the tournament away. There was a handful of high-quality golfers within 5, 6, or 7 strokes, any one of whom could walk away with the coveted Maple Pyramid. Welcome to round 3. I'm Steve Dodge. We've got a 68-degree day, and we expect the rain to hold off. Today we're playing the Pyramid Silver course. This is the shortest of the 4 courses for the MSDGC. Going into round 3, Barry Schultz leads Chris Sprague by 5, Justin Bonnell and Chris Heron by 6. We start today's highlights with Barry Schultz putting for par on hole 1. Call it a bogey. After a birdie on hole 2, Barry Schultz has this for another birdie on hole 3. Call it a par. And Barry Schultz on hole 5 puts that a little high, a little too much mustard. That fades way right. After the first 5 holes, Barry Schultz is even par. Chris Heron, looking to make a move, gets the birdie on hole 1. Follows that, birdie on hole 2. On hole 3, birdie! On the first 3 holes of the 3rd round, Chris Heron has gained 3 strokes to cut the lead to 3. And on hole 5, tee shot, in the drink. Upshot, in the drink. Chris Heron quickly gives back 2 strokes, 5 behind after 5. Chris Sprague, who came into the 3rd round in 2nd place, saves the par on hole 1, and after a birdie on hole 2, hits the birdie on hole 4. With a birdie on hole 5, Chris Sprague could cut the lead by 3 very quickly. And he does just that, closing the gap to 2 after 5 holes. Justin Bonnell, who came into the 3rd round tied for 3rd, was a schizophrenic kitty cat this round. After gacking putts for par and birdie on holes 1 and 2, Justin manages to park hole 3 for the drop-in bird. He follows that with a bird on hole 4, gaining 1 stroke on Barry Schultz after the first 5 holes. Walter Haney, who entered the 3rd round in 5th place, 7 strokes behind Barry Schultz, is expected to hit some birdie shots. And there's a reason for that, because he hits the birdie shots. Hole 2, easy birdie. Hole 3, easy birdie. Walt hits them both, gains 2 strokes. Larry Leonard, who was 1 stroke behind Walter going into the 3rd round, manages to card the deuce on hole 2. And on hole 4, Larry's in some trouble short and left of the creek bed. A great upshot. Saves the par. Cards the bird on hole 5. He too has gained 2 strokes on Barry Schultz. Moving on. Jay Redding pars the first 3 holes, has this for birdie on hole 4. If you lost to Jay Redding by 1 stroke, there's the stroke. Mike Hoffman, after struggling through the first 4 holes with pars, does even worse on hole 5. Naved Hosnane cards a couple birdies in the first 5 holes, gaining 2 strokes. Hole 1 was Justin Jernigan's only par in the first 5 holes. He carded 3 birdies and a bogey to gain 2 strokes on Barry Schultz. Kevin McCoy started out hot, birdieing 4 of the first 5 holes and making up strokes on the entire field. Michael JoJo Hansen uses his short game and some great drives to gain a couple strokes and move up into a 4-way tie for 10th place after the first 5 holes. Board ZZ Solang sets him up and knocks him down, carding birdies on holes 2 and hole 3. JG, while struggling a bit over the first 5 holes, manages to park this one for an easy birdie on hole 2. Timothy Walsh, a hometown favorite, takes a hometown route on hole 1 to card a birdie, one of only a handful on the first hole. And Joe Mela, whose skill set is honed perfectly for this short course, cards easy birdies on hole 2, hole 3, and here on hole 4.
Yeah, Joey.
After the first 5 holes, Chris Sprague has cut the lead from 5 to 2. Kevin McCoy has also made a move, and Joe Mela has advanced to a 4-way tie for 10th place. Chris Sprague keeps the pressure on with a beautiful delivery on hole 6, setting himself up for a nice easy birdie. And carding the birdie on hole 9 as well. Barry Schultz, perhaps sensing the hard-charging Sprague, has a beautiful drive on hole 6, setting up for the easy birdie. His drive on hole 7 is straight as a string, easy birdie. Hole 9, up and around, easy birdie. Hole 10, I wish I had a disc that could do that. Birdie. Barry Schultz has birdied 4 of the last 6 holes, and I'd say he's answered the call. Chris Heron struggles a bit, just carding a birdie on 6. And even the dependable Walter Haney can't maintain that kind of a pace, ending at just 1 under par over holes 6 through 11. Larry Leonard steps up to the plate with a beautiful drive on hole 6.
Oh, nice.
And after a birdie on 7 and a par on 8, he follows up with a graceful Anheuser on hole 9, setting himself up for his 3rd birdie of holes 6 through 11. Justin Bonnell starts out hot on this second section of the course, carding the easy birdie on hole 6. And firing it right through the gap on hole 7, setting himself up for another birdie. The big story of these 6 holes, holes 6 through 11, is Justin Jernigan, firing birdies on holes 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Hit it, Justin! Kevin McCoy holds it together, carding a birdie on hole 7 and on hole 9 with this big, beautiful drive. You still got it, Kevin. Michael Johansson continues his torrid pace on this short course, carding birdies on 5 of the 6 holes. Hole 11, he birdied like this.
You got it.
Oh.
And John Gregory hit some big putts on hole 6.
Yeah.
Another on hole 7. And the biggest on hole 8.
Yeah.
Board Solang cards the chalkboard birdie on hole 7. Manages to save par on hole 8. And scooches his way to a birdie on hole 9 to go 2 under over these 6 holes. And then there's Adam Goodman from Connecticut. He struggled the first couple rounds, but he's coming on strong right now with a birdie on 7. And on hole 8, birdie! And the story of this round continues to be Joe Mela.
Get in.
Come on, Joe.
He's just eating this short course up for lunch. Beautiful shot on hole 6, using the lefty route on hole 7,
Great shot, bro.
saving his birdie on hole 8, and plucking a duck out of the air for an easy bird on hole 9. Through 11 holes, Justin Jernigan's making the most noise, moving up from 12th to 3rd. Michael Johansson's 5 birdies over the last 6 holes have launched him from 10th to 4th, and Joe Mela is now in a 6-way tie for 7th place. Holes 12 and 13 are the only par 4s on this Pyramids course, and Barry Schultz threes them both. Couple of quick birdies. Barry is keeping it going. And his great drive on 13, the airport hole, is reason for clapping. Chris Sprague keeps pace with a birdie on hole 12 as well. And this beautiful drive on the airport hole 13. Continuing with the lead card on hole 13, Chris Heron has got what it takes to send it down the pike. And that leaves Justin Bunnell. His 3 card partners have all gone straight through the gap.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
We've got a strong lead card. Justin Bunnell's got a shot at eagle.
Wow.
Holy
That's
cow.
the first time I've ever seen you lay up.
I don't think I've seen that either. It was tough. It was.
Kevin McCoy, after birdieing hole 12, launches what might be the best drive of the tournament on the airport hole. And it leaves him with a daunting 18-footer for eagle. Michael Johansson, who was 7 down after the first 11 holes, gets a case of the shanks and manages a bogey 5 on hole 12. Michael Johansson has this for par on 14.
Oh!
Baby. Great save.
Now that's a par.
Have that through the hole?
Naved Hosnane also bogeys hole 12, but gets it back with a birdie on 13. Jay Redding with a daunting par putt on hole 13. And John Gregory with a putt out of the woods on 13. Birdie! And this terrific upshot on 14. Kevin McCoy, last year's MSDGC champion, continues to climb up the leaderboard and is now in sole possession of 3rd place. But the real story here has to be Barry Schultz. After a slow start, he has managed to rebuild his lead to a comfortable 4 strokes with 4 holes left in the 3rd round. There are 3 shots at birdie on these last 4 holes. And here's Barry's shot at birdie on 15. Oh, just short. Barry leaves that one on the table. His putt on 17. Birdie! And on 18, he parks it with confidence, drops it in, and finishes the 3rd round at an impressive 22 under par. Chris Sprague in 2nd tries a lefty thumber on hole 15. Looks like a good idea. On hole 17, he goes straight down the gut. What a graceful little left to right turn at the end, setting himself up for an easy birdie. And another birdie on hole 18 sets him up for a 3 under par in the last 4 holes, gaining 1 more stroke on Barry Schultz. And now the battle to fill out the lead card. Kevin McCoy, after birdieing on 15, misses the birdie on 16. His drive on 17, right down the gut. Stuck behind the tree. Big straddle putt. Count it! Kevin also birdies hole 18. He's on the lead card. There are 5 folks within 1 stroke vying for the last spot on the lead card. Chris Heron gets the birdie on 15. Misses the birdie on 16 and 17. With a birdie on 18, he'll end up at 14 under par. And hits the basket on hole 18. That's a birdie. Chris Heron sets the bar for the lead group at 14 under par. Larry Leonard, who was tied with Chris Heron at 12 under par going under the final 4 holes, sets up for the easy birdie on 15. And here's his drive on hole 16. Glide, baby, glide. That's a birdie. If Larry Leonard can birdie either of the last 2 holes, he's in good position to take that last spot on the lead card. And that drive on 17, that's his 3rd birdie in a row. And never one to settle, Larry Leonard goes ahead and birdies hole 18 to finish at 16 under par, tying Kevin McCoy for 3rd 6 shots off the pace. Justin Bonnell with a strong finish could put himself in a good position to make a run. Birdie on 15 is going to help. Here's his birdie putt on 16. After 2 birdies in a row, here's his drive on 17. Textbook flight. Beautiful little left to right at the end of it, setting himself up for a 20-footer for birdie. Bad putts and bad luck. Justin fails to capitalize. Walter Haney on hole 15 hits the strong birdie putt. On hole 17, chains left. And his drive on hole 18 is textbook. Walter finishes the 3rd round at 13 under par, tied with Justin Bonnell for 6th place. Justin Jernigan, who's been one of the hottest players on the course this round, gets a nice kick for the easy bird on 15, and here's his birdie putt on 16. And here's his par putt. And here's his bogey putt. And Steve Brinster, who's currently tied for 10th with 4 holes to play, I swear he's from New England, gets the easy birdie on hole 15. And on hole 17, he trains his disc to do that nice left to right turn and gets an easier birdie. Michael Johansson can't quite keep pace with Brinster over the final 4 holes, only carding this birdie on hole 17. Joe Mela also only cards 1 birdie over the final 4 holes, finishes at 11 under par and a 4-way tie for 10th. Jay Redding with a comfortable drive on 15, resulting in a birdie, and an amazing flick on 17. Jay, I didn't know you had that shot. Merged with his birdie on 18, causes Jay to leapfrog Joe Mela and Michael Johansson, tying Steve Brinster for 8th place. Board Solang finishes strong, carding birdies on holes 15, 17, and 18, putting him just 2 shots out of the top 10. And Michael Hoffman, who's been struggling this entire round, shows us that hole 15 is as easy as it should be. He also cards the birdie on 17 and 18 to salvage a 4 under par in the 3rd round. And here's our leaderboard going into the final round of the 2006 MSDGC. With 18 holes remaining in the 2006 MSDGC, the skies have opened up and the mercury has fallen. We've got 56 degrees and rain. And this rain is not stopping anytime today. I'd say the elements will be a factor on the Maple Hill Airplanes course. Barry Schultz at 22 under par leads Chris Sprague by 3. Larry Leonard and Kevin McCoy are 6 back. The next closest player is 14 under par, 8 strokes off the lead. And for anyone outside this lead card to make a run at the Maple Pyramid, they will have to play perfect golf. And we start the 4th round action with the 6th card on the tee of hole 1. Naved Hasnain fires his drive straight at the pond. He'll need 480 to clear that pond. Oh, he starts us off right. Skippity-doo-dah. Adam Goodman takes the more traditional route and plops his drive into the pond. Ford Solang from Connecticut, like Adam Goodman, follows his statehood friend and plops his disc into the drink. Justin Bonnell, with a perfect round and some errors by the lead card, he's got all the skills to climb up the leaderboard. Not a perfect start. And so it went. Even if players did clear the pond, they missed the putts. Or they drove OB on hole 2. Or else things just didn't seem to work out. After 4 holes, the relentless rain and daunting lead of Barry Schultz had knocked everyone from the hunt for first, except the lead card. And that brings us to the lead card, with Barry Schultz getting ready to drive on hole 1. Barry has watched half of the top players drive it into the pond, and he still goes for it.
Okay. At 145, Chris Sprague.
With Barry safely across and in good position to card a birdie, Chris Sprague takes the tee. A good release with a good follow-through. Oh, Chris has thrown a perfect drive.
At 148, Kevin McCoy.
Kevin McCoy, last year's MSDGC champion. He knows this tough airplanes course is going to give him a chance to make up 6 strokes, but he's going to need to make every shot count. Ooh, he is very interested, as his drive clears the pond, giving him a shot at birdie.
Also at 148, Larry Leonard.
Larry Leonard was in the hunt for the championship last year going into the 4th round. He actually held strong with McCoy and Haney right up until hole 8 on this airplanes course. His arm's not as big. He makes a smart play, fading left of the pond. Here's Larry Leonard's second shot on this 750-foot par 4. He launches that approach, a perfect shot. Kevin McCoy's second shot. Whoa, Nelly. He puts way too much hyzer on that disc. That disc is going to land pin high about 40 feet left of the basket, and with a little roll, we'll call it 25. Nice roll for Kevin. Barry Schultz now, throwing his black disc on a dark and rainy day. If you can't see it, I'll clue you in. It's a good shot. He's set up for birdie. Here's Chris Sprague. If he gets close, we'll have a star frame. But instead, he'll lose a stroke. And we jump to Barry Schultz's second shot on hole 2. Barry Schultz will be settling in for a bogey. Here's Chris Sprague's second shot. Looks like he's going to be getting that stroke he lost on hole 1 back nice and quick. Kevin McCoy's second. An easy par and a good start for Kevin McCoy. And Larry Leonard now. Oh, he doesn't quite follow through. And the disc hangs left, kicks left. Larry Leonard and Barry Schultz will bogey hole 2. On hole 3, Barry Schultz drives and is quickly in trouble again. With just a 3-stroke lead, it's time for Barry to step up and make a statement. And he does. Setting up for a good chance at par. Meanwhile, Chris Sprague is also in trouble off the hole 3 tee. But a great putt can save the par. That's a bogey. Larry Leonard has a nice, easy drive and sets up for an easy par. After his drive, it looked as though Barry could be in trouble. And after that putt, everyone else is in trouble. Day in trouble? Don't worry, Charlie. My foot's on the rail. With the lead now at 4, Barry drives on hole 4. A very nice shot, leaving him with this putt for birdie. And that quickly, after looking as though the lead might drop to 2, Barry Schultz leads Chris Sprague by 5 and Larry Leonard and Kevin McCoy by 7. This airplanes course will allow players to make up strokes or lose them. So this thing isn't over yet. We advance to hole 5, one of the greatest risk-reward shots of the tournament. You could throw through the woods and have a chance at par, or you can try a 300-foot left-to-right drive, and if you make it, you got a great shot at birdie. Oh, B, and if you don't, you just lost a couple strokes. With Barry OB, here's Larry Leonard's drive. That's a deuce. Chris Sprague now. That, too, is a deuce. Here's Barry Schultz's third shot, counting the OB. It's on target. He just lost 2 strokes to Larry and Chris. And now to Kevin McCoy. I think his reaction tells the story. Kevin is OB. Here's Kevin's third shot. Hits the wall. OB. Kevin's drive on hole 6. OB. Kevin's drive on hole 7. Oh, kicks way left. Kevin's par shot on 7. At least his disc is dry. And Kevin's run at the 06 MSDGC is over. Back on the tee of hole 6, with Barry leading Chris Sprague by 3 and Larry Leonard by 5, Chris launches a very nice drive, a bit tight to the right side. Gets a pretty good kick. Anything to the right would have been OB. Barry Schultz on the tee of hole 6. Oh, that kick is sending his drive OB for the second hole in a row. Chris Sprague could be looking at another 2-stroke swing. Hold it. You all have to understand what Barry's about to try. He could play safe and put his next shot in the fairway, ensuring that he would only lose 2 strokes. But he's deciding to throw out and over the OB, hoping his disc fades left, gets over the stone wall, and lands close enough to the basket for a shot at par. If it doesn't get over the stone wall, he has just lost the lead. It's up. It looks good. Oh, that was amazing! Now Chris Sprague needs to execute and not go right just to gain 1 stroke. And he does execute. And the lead is cut to 2. Now to Larry Leonard, who has a shot to close within 4 strokes of Barry. And throwing OB is not going to close the gap. Larry Leonard's third shot. He puts too much on it. He's going to be losing a stroke on hole 6. And then, on hole 8 of the Maple Hill Airplanes course, the hole that finished his shot at first last year, we jump back to hole 7 with Chris Sprague on the tee, trailing Barry Schultz by 2. Oh, that is a chalkboard drive, nice and easy. That sets him up for an easy par with a shot at birdie. Barry's second shot. He hangs that out there a little long. He's got about a 35-foot comeback putt to save par. Chris Sprague now for birdie. Oh, off the basket. Nice run by Chris, and now Barry Schultz to maintain his 2-stroke lead. Hits the big-time putt. Barry is struggling, but when he needs to make the shot, he steps up and delivers. And we move to hole 8. That drive clears the pond, rolls, it's inbounds. But it's probably not close enough for Sprague to card the birdie. And that means Barry can take the safer right-to-left route for the sure 3. He puts it up. Oh, there's not enough hyzer on that. He's going straight into the laurel. He's got no shot at birdie. Barry sets up for the par. And we go to Chris Sprague for birdie to close the gap to 1 stroke. Birdie! On the last 4 holes, Chris Sprague has gained 4 strokes. And remember, his birdie shot on 7 hit the basket. And Barry had to throw that risky upshot on 6 and hit a big-time putt on 7 just to cling to his 1-stroke lead. Sprague has got the momentum heading into the final 10 holes of the 2006 MSDGC. So we're left with Sprague and Schultz chasing first. Let's rewind a bit and check out the race for 3rd place. It starts with Justin Jernigan on hole 1.
Yeah, JJ. Rip.
A big drive and a big approach. And a solid putt to card the birdie on hole 1. Jay Redding at 12 under par for birdie on hole 1. On hole 2, Walter Haney at 11 under par sets himself up for an easy up and down for par. Justin Jernigan gets the step in par. And Chris Heron, with that big flick, saves a par. On hole 3, Sher Solang at 9 under par makes a run at birdie. Walter Haney's second shot settles in nicely, leaving him a yard for par. On hole 4, Justin Jernigan, who's 1 under through the first 3 holes, fires a clean drive for an easy par. Chris Heron, who's tied with Jernigan at 12 under par, settles in nicely. And Justin Bunnell outdoes all of them, putting a good drive together with a great putt. Through 4 holes, Justin Jernigan has jumped 5 spots into 5th place, and Larry Leonard and Kevin McCoy have seemingly comfortable leads in the race for 3rd. But we all know what happens to them over the next 4 holes. Here's Justin Jernigan on hole 5. That's a birdie. Mike Hoffman. Not a birdie. Chris Heron with a putt. Bogey save. On hole 6, Walter Haney at 10 under par plays a safe drive straight down the pike. Justin Bunnell, also at 10 under par, parks his upshot for a birdie. And Michael Johansson follows the textbook and cards his second birdie in a row. After everyone in the hunt for 3rd, except Joe Mela, bogeys hole 7, we jump to hole 8. Kevin McCoy at 9 under par. He's going to 10 under par. Justin Bunnell at 10 under par stays in bounds and goes to 11 under par. Joe Mela parked. Mike Hoffman clears the OB line and scraps out a deuce. Adam Goodman right to left, good for a birdie. Sher Solang big left to right, about 10 feet short, that's a birdie. And Steve Brinster with an ace run. Justin Jernigan joins the birdie fun and hits the deuce.
Yeah, JJ.
So through 8 holes, Justin Jernigan continues to play hot golf. Sher Solang, John Gregory, and Joe Mela are the only other players under par through 8. And Kevin McCoy has dropped to 6th, while Larry Leonard is now tied with Jernigan for 3rd. Chris Heron, who is tied with Kevin McCoy for 6th place. Nice nestle. And Kevin McCoy for par. And Kevin McCoy for double bogey. Count it as +2. On to hole 10. Chris Heron keeps it going with a nice par putt. Justin Bunnell. That's a nice par putt. Steve Brinster joins in the big putt for par fun. And Kevin McCoy makes a run at birdie.
Back up.
On the 840-foot hole 11, Walter Haney's second shot finds the gap.
Yeah.
And Steve Brinster and Justin Bunnell
Yeah.
give themselves a good chance at birdie.
Shot, Justin.
On hole 12, Chris Heron, now tied with Justin Bunnell for 5th place, sets himself up for an easy up and down for par. And Justin Bunnell is in some trouble on his second shot. A mighty hammer and a bit of tree love save his par. On hole 13, Justin keeps it going with a nice park job. And Sure Solang gets down the fairway super fast and gets the birdie.
And so it is.
Jay Redding with a picture-perfect right-to-left fade. Nice nestle. Here's Michael Johansson. He's at 7 under par, and that drive hangs out to the right a bit, but we wouldn't be showing you this unless he does something cool with the putt. Birdie! And Joe Mela, who's sort of become my sentimental favorite because he, like me, is pretty short, misses his putt. How about his par putt? Oy. Meanwhile, Kevin McCoy, who's also 7 under par, with a big birdie putt. And through 13 holes, Larry Leonard and Justin Jernigan have settled in to first in the race for third. And Justin Bunnell and Chris Heron, one behind at 11 under par. Walter Haney, Steve Brinster, 10 under par. Looks like we've got a gaggle of gophers at 8 under par. Sure Solang, part of our gaggle at 8 under par. Nice drive, gets the birdie. Jay Redding, another gaggle groupie. Heiser's a bit late, but gets the birdie. Board Solang, 8 under par. Laser Beam Boy,
Easy at the gut.
he's set up for a birdie.
Triple R Nation.
And Joe Mela, who is 6 under par with a small arm, lays it on the dam and rolls it up. Are you kidding me? That's a birdie?
The technician shows up. Yes.
And Steve Brinster, who is 10 under par. Anyway, Chris Heron, who is 11 under par. Heiser's in nicely for the easy birdie. And Larry Leonard, who's tied with Justin Jernigan at 12 under par for third. Heiser's in, gets a little skip and roll. He's set up for the birdie to take sole possession of third place. And we go to hole 15 with Justin Jernigan, who fires a laser beam straight as a string right down the gut, cards the birdie, and ties Larry Leonard to third place. Michael Jojo Hansen, who's still 8 under par because he didn't get the birdie on hole 14, right down the gut for the bird on hole 15.
Nice.
And Steve Brinster, with the textbook drive, how can a disc go that far, that straight?
Yeah.
Easy birdie for Brinster. And Kevin McCoy, who's 8 under par as well, fires one right at the camera. Nice skip. 15 feet away from birdie. And Justin Bunnell for birdie to tie Chris Heron for 5th. So with 3 holes to play, we've got 4 folks that can make a serious run at 3rd place. Larry Leonard and Justin Jernigan, 13 under par. Justin Bonnell and Chris Heron, 12 under par. Chris Heron's second shot on hole 16. And Justin Bonnell going for the birdie on hole 16. Kevin McCoy from downtown on hole 16. Larry Leonard needs to save his par out of the laurel. And Joe Mala's second shot. Little left to right around the tree, maybe? And Jay Redding at 9 under after getting in trouble off the tee to save his par. We jump to hole 17 with Board Solang on the tee. Oh, that is beautiful. Sets it right up in the opening. Justin Bonnell, 1 shot away from 3rd. Gets in some trouble off the tee. And Chris Heron now, also 1 shot out of 3rd, with a nice drive. With a good upshot left to right around that corner pine, he'll set himself up for a shot at birdie. And that is not a good upshot. And here is Larry Leonard's par shot. That's a nice up and down. He'll be able to save the bogey. Justin Bonnell's par putt. He plays it kind of safe. Got the bogey. Chris Heron for par. Lays it up. And Justin Jernigan has this for par and sole possession of 3rd place. So with 1 hole left to play, Larry Leonard and Justin Jernigan tied for 3rd at 12 under par. Justin Bonnell, Chris Heron, 1 back at 11 under par. Steve Brinster, 9 under. Walter Haney, Shure Solang, Kevin McCoy, and Jay Redding at 8 under par. Michael Johansson at 7 under par. And Board Solang and Joe Mala at 6 under par. Joe Mala's second shot. A beautiful left to right. Almost on the basket.
Yeah.
Joe Mala finishes with a 216, good for 11th place, and $463. Board Solang at 6 under par. Settles his second shot on the island green. And sinks his par putt to also finish at 216th, tied for 11th. Board Solang earned $463. Jay Redding, shaking a little of the water out, finishes at 216 strokes, good for 11th place, and $463. Kevin McCoy, who struggled this last round, gets rejected by 1 more tree on his way to a double bogey on hole 18.
On the whole day.
Kevin McCoy completes the 4-way tie for 11th, winning $463. Michael Johansson, coming into the 18th hole at 7 under par, manages to leapfrog Jay Redding and Kevin McCoy. Finishing in 10th place at 215 strokes and winning $522. Shure Solang with a big and mighty hammer onto the island green. Shure finishes the round at 2 under par. A total of 214, good for 8th place, and $576. Walter Haney at -8. A beautiful upshot. I swear he could play this hole in his sleep. Finishes at 214, tied for 8th place, winning $576. Steve Brinster with a big final drive. finishes with a par. Shoots 213, good for 7th place and $645. Justin Jernigan comes into the last hole at 12 under par. If he had parred this final hole, he would have shot the best round of the day and moved up from the 4th card to 3rd place. But that second shot goes OB. He misses his bogey putt, finishes at 212, good for 6th place and $707. Chris Heron comes into the final hole at 11 under par and fires this beautiful upshot onto the island green. Cards the par, finishes at 211, good for 4th place and $842. Justin Bonnell, also at 11 under par, leaves his approach short on the island green, leaving himself about a 30-footer to tie Chris Heron for 4th place. Count it. Justin Bonnell, shooting 211, tied for 4th place, good for $842. And then there's Larry Leonard, currently 12 under par. Leaves his drive a little short. He's going to have a tough flick onto the island green. If he goes up and down in 2, he will take sole possession of 3rd place. The flick is up. That's a good crowd reaction. And a drop-in par for Larry Leonard, who finishes at 210, good for 3rd place, and $1,067. And now a quick recap to find out where we are. After 4 holes, Barry Schultz hit this birdie putt to take a 5-stroke lead over Chris Sprague. And then disaster struck. On hole 5, his drive is short and out of bounds. On hole 6, his drive kicks right, out of bounds. And Chris Sprague capitalizes, carding birdies on hole 5 and hole 6, and cutting the lead to 2. On hole 7, Barry Schultz would hit a big par putt to maintain his 2-stroke lead. And then, on hole 8, Chris Sprague hits a 40-footer for birdie to close the gap to 1. And that is where we stand right now as we enter the tee of hole 9. And Barry Schultz looks none too happy with that drive. It looks as if Barry Schultz, the 2-time world champion, 3-time U.S. champion, can feel it slipping away as he is no longer in control of this tournament. And that leaves Barry with this for his 3rd shot on this tough par 4. A beautiful follow-through, a nice flight, tight to the right, settles in nicely 8 feet from the basket. Barry Schultz has saved his par. Chris Sprague checks out the OB behind the basket, perhaps pacing off the distance. This is for birdie to tie Barry Schultz for the lead. Chris Sprague decides to lay up. That shot shows that Chris Sprague is confident he will be able to catch Barry Schultz. On the tee of hole 10, Chris Sprague drives, puts a nice left to right on it. He put himself in a nice position for his 2nd shot. He's got about 220 feet to the pin. Barry Schultz drives, a nice drive, turns, He's put himself within about 200 feet of the pin. A couple of good upshots later, Chris Sprague putting for par. After a couple of routine pars on hole 10, we move to hole 11, with Barry Schultz leading Chris Sprague by 1. 840 feet. The pin is placed 120 feet into the woods. You've got to set your second shot up in the front of that gap. A nice up and down will save your par. Or if you're these guys, you'll try to punch that gap with your second shot. It's a nice flight. Hits the gap a bit right, gets through. He's got about 35 feet for birdie on this tough par 4. Chris Sprague now. Not quite enough follow through. He hits the left side of the gap, fades left. He'll have a tough shot from there. Here's Chris Sprague's birdie putt. Oh, that tree hit leaves him farther out than Barry Schultz. Chris Sprague for par. He will be losing 1 stroke and maybe 2 if Barry Schultz hits this birdie putt. Barry Schultz on the tee of hole 12, now leading by 2. That's a big drive from Barry. Fades left a bit early. Chris Sprague now on the tee. A low line drive, a short line drive. He's got a pretty big up and down to try to save par. Here's his second shot. Nice and easy. He's got about 15 feet for par. Barry Schultz has no look. Does a hammer. Gets plenty close enough. Here's Chris Sprague for par. Barry Schultz hits his par, and with 6 holes to play, has a 2-stroke lead over Chris Sprague. That drive fades left a bit early, dies a bit fast. He's left himself with about 30 feet for birdie on hole 13. Chris Sprague now. Whoa, that's quite a pull. Very strong to the hole. Flies about 35 feet past, cuts left into the woods. He's got about a 70-footer for birdie. I'll call that a par. Barry Schultz now to take a 3-stroke lead. Off the top of the basket. Barry has missed an opportunity to grow the lead to 3. We go to hole 14. Barry Schultz leading by 2. It's a little low. Heiser's a little late. Barry is out of bounds on his drive on hole 14. This could be the most important drive of the tournament for Chris Sprague. With a birdie here, he could produce a 2-stroke swing and be tied with Barry Schultz with 4 to play. He's got a shot at birdie. We go to Barry Schultz's 3rd shot, including the OB. All he can do is hammer out of the woods and make a run, and oh, very nice out for Barry Schultz. And here's Chris Sprague to tie for the lead. And now Barry Schultz to tie Chris Sprague for the lead. The lead he's held the entire tournament. We have a new leader, folks. Chris Sprague on the tee of hole 15. He pulls that drive a little right. Oh, nice kick out. Barry Schultz now trailing Chris Sprague by 1. It's a nice drive. Fades a bit left. Unfortunate kick off the root of that tree. Chris Sprague, 50 feet for birdie. Oh, hits the basket. And now Barry Schultz with a chance to tie. On to hole 16. Chris Sprague leading by 1. Oh, it turns a bit early. Oh, kicks way left. Chris Sprague is in trouble off the tee of 16. And Barry Schultz has another opportunity. Turns right. Oh, hits a tree. He's got an easy par, though. and Chris Sprague is going to be struggling for bogey. Here's Chris Sprague's second shot. That disc cuts through the woods, fading left, parked. Chris Sprague is a miracle man. He saved his par. And Barry Schultz has lost another opportunity to gain back that stroke. Here is Barry's second shot. Oh, nice run by Barry. He had a chance. And we advance to hole 17, which is a big uphill shot with a dogleg right onto a fast green. We join the action after 2 good drives. Chris Sprague, represented by a blue X, is about to shoot Barry Schultz in better position, represented by the red X. And this is Chris Sprague's second shot on hole 17. Oh, he needed to get that much higher, left it way short. Barry Schultz checks out the scene, seeing that Chris Sprague has a tough par and will probably have to lay up and get the bogey. Barry just needs a nice up and down to gain that stroke. That approach is a little bit weak, leaves him about 20 feet away for par. Chris Sprague has this for par, laying up, sacrificing a stroke, and going on to hole 18 tied with Barry Schultz. Barry Schultz for par to tie Chris Sprague with 1 hole remaining. There's not much you can say on that. Barry missed a putt on holes 13, 14, 15. Chris Sprague made a miracle upshot on 16. And on 17, Barry Schultz missed another putt. We could be witnessing one of the largest upsets in disc golf history. Barry Schultz, 2005 Player of the Year, World's Champion, U.S. Open Champion. He trails by 1 with 1 hole remaining. Chris Sprague drives on hole 18. That is a nice drive by Chris Sprague. He's left himself with a good shot at the island green. And Barry Schultz launches a huge drive. He knows it's good, no need to watch. He sets himself up looking right at the island green. He might have a shot at birdie. And now Chris Sprague's second shot. He is safely on the island green. Let's see that again from the other side. And we go to Barry Schultz. Second shot.
Get in!
Which means that if Chris Sprague hits this putt, he is the 2006 MSDGC champion.
Chris. Playing the pond the whole day.
Congratulations to Chris Sprague, our 2006 MSDGC champion. I'm Steve Dodge. From myself and the rest of the MSDGC staff, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the MSDGC. Here are the top 10 finishers at the MSDGC.